Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Rehab Project. This is Sarah Saxby, and this is the podcast where we talk about truth because everything in our life has been a lie. In today's episode, I want to talk about awake versus performing awakeness. Because this is a big thing in our world right now. Those that say they're awake and those that aren't, the huge divide right now. And I'm going to explain this. And the one thing that I can say about myself is that when I experience friction with the things that I say, it gives me so much more information and I have to understand it. I have to dig deeper so I can speak on it. And whenever I see comments and things, it helps me so much because then I dig even deeper. And I got such a greater understanding of what I'm saying when it comes to being awake or just performing awakeness that I want to speak about it. And I'm hoping that I can keep it organized enough. Inside of this construct, this reality where we live, we have competition, identity, hierarchy, duality. It only exists inside this construct we're in. And I had somebody comment and say, no, I had an awakening and I know that there are gods above gods. There are people who are in control, all this stuff. Oneness and hierarchy cannot coexist. There cannot be hierarchy within consciousness. It is one. So if you are talking about hierarchy or competition or duality, you're talking about an engineered reality. That's where competition, hierarchy, that's where those things exist, not inside oneness. And so here's the confusion, and this is how we keep getting trapped. Because there are so many people that have gone through loss, that have lost a lot. And when they come out the other side, here's the thing. When you lose the things that were you, that were your identity, it could be a relationship, a job, money, whatever. When you lose those things, you have two options because you fall into a void. It's like you don't know where to go because everything that you identified with, everything that was the you that you know inside this reality is gone. So you have two choices. One choice is to keep falling into the void until you become this nameless person who can't even describe themselves anymore. And no one wants to do that. That's not an attractive one because you can't post it. You don't have anything to post on Facebook. You don't have anything to tell people because it's nothing. You went through loss and you kept letting yourself fall until you realized there's nothing and everything. But it's not this fancy thing that you can talk about because there's nothing to even say. And the other option is you grab on to another identity really quick. And you can say, I'm awake now, I'm chosen now. But you don't realize when you do that, you're creating another identity within this reality we're stuck in. And I'm going to explain that. Because if you don't create the identity, then you are a person who went through a bunch of hard things and you have nothing to show for it. So you create an identity to tell people what you went through. But inside this construct we live in, that is where duality exists. That's where hierarchy exists. That's where competition exists. So if you come out of an awakening and now you have another identity and you're saying, I'm awake, and you're saying, I'm chosen, you are automatically saying that someone else is sleeping, that other people are sleeping, that other people are not chosen. How is that possible inside oneness? How is that possible? And I understand we are still in this reality, in these bodies. I understand that. But if you have truly awakened, you will know there is no competition. You can see people posting things and you will have nothing to argue with them about. You will not compete with them because real awakening has nothing to compete with. Your identity does. Your identity is a part of this construct. So yes, we are all living inside this reality, but this reality has an internal logic that we keep falling back into. Every time we create another identity, anytime we argue with someone, anytime we say, I'm right, you're wrong, left, right, jab, no jab, guns, no guns. Every time we say that, we are falling back into the trap within this reality, the only place where the trap exists. Because if you were truly awakened, you would not argue with anyone. You would not argue. There is no competition. There is no hierarchy in oneness. So while we are here in this reality, the reality that has an internal logic, competition, hierarchy, duality, while we are here, we do not need to play by the rules. We do not need to play by the internal logic. That's how we get out. We get out by no longer playing by its rules. Its rules are competition, identity, hierarchy, duality. And we don't see it. We keep fighting with other people. We keep saying, I'm awake, you're not. You just put yourself above someone. You're saying, I'm chosen, you are not chosen. Chosen above who? That logic exists inside the reality that we are stuck in. You are not above anyone in oneness. If you truly did awaken, there will be no hierarchy. While we are in this reality, we need to refuse to play by its rules. The internal logic, the trap we keep falling into when we argue with someone, when we tell someone they're wrong, when we tell someone we know more than they do, when I'm chosen, you're not, I'm awake, you're asleep. We stop playing by those rules and we get out. But we keep falling into it. And someone said, oh, of course, you're outside of it. You're better than everyone else. No, I'm still in here with everyone else. I'm just not being run by the reality's internal logic. That's all. I am in competition with no one. I am not above or below anyone. When you start to live by that, you get outside of the construct, outside of where we are stuck. We don't have to physically go anywhere. We don't have to claim to be anything. Every time you claim to be something, you're falling back into the trap of this reality. We get out by no longer being controlled by the internal logic, period. If you are arguing with someone, if you are telling someone that you know more, if you're telling someone, I'm awake, you're not, you don't see how you're falling back into the trap. If you are defending yourself, you fell back into the trap of this reality. We get out by no longer being trapped here. Real awakening has no competition. There's no duality. There's no I'm better, I'm chosen, I'm awake. That's a trap. That is like the ultimate trap. Because when we're fighting with other people, when we're defending ourselves, we're doing the job of the construct for free. We keep arguing with the very people that at the core, it's just oneness, it's just consciousness. Nobody's above anybody in oneness. The more we become that here, the less we are going to be controlled by this reality that has controlled us for a very long time. We just need to stop being controlled by the internal logic of this reality. When we do, we will start to see the the one that has always been here will reveal itself. But when you keep fighting with people, when you keep thinking your side is right, you're just demonstrating the internal logic of the construct that we are stuck in.